If Counter-Strike was on controller, you would not have that viewership. You would not have Kenny S. Snipes. You would not have fucking, simple one-tapping an entire team and clutching around. It wouldn't happen. That shit doesn't happen on controller. That shit's born on PC. So Respawn says, after much consideration and debate, we've decided to remove tap strafing from Play Apex in patch 10.1. Our reasoning is it's inaccessible, aka controller players. It lacks readability and counterplay, which is total bullshit, and is exacerbated by movement abilities, aka Octane. The next patch notes will include a more detailed note about this. I don't even know where to start to break this down. And for the record, I block people because they're fucking irritating. Aimbotters cheaters also lack the readability and counterplay and are exacerbated by speed hacks. But you still see me trying to kill them in ranked after 8 seasons. Why couldn't you remove that dog shit instead? Shiv's got a point. Servers suck. Cheaters are abundant. They're free to play. Every update have crashes, lag, shitty servers, denial of service attacks on server. It's fucking terrible. Movement is an important element in Apex. Please don't remove it. True. Literally the only reason I play this game is because you can move in it. You're not stuck like you're just running through the mud. It's not like Warzone where camping is king, because you can actually use movement to get the fuck out of fights. You can get out of situations. It's actually part of the skill. And Trainwreck here is just, I don't know. This is like just the generic dumb argument that doesn't make any fucking sense.
I'm watching Tfue right now. I saw that you removed tap strafing. Instead of, catering to console players, those fucking casuals, why not catering to us PC gamers that made your game? And remove aim assist, aka legal hacking. Thank you.
So, PC players, I don't think made the game. I think PC players got it off the ground, and what's really maintaining it right now is likely do a search. So, let's do Apex on Twitch. Oh wow, am I missing it? There it is. Ninja 12k, Tfue 12k, Shiv 9k, whoever this is 4k, 3.5, 3k. These are all what? 12, 25, 35, 37, 40. So you've probably all in all got 70,000 people watching Apex right now, and I can pretty much guarantee that a majority, at least in over 50%, are controller players, casuals. They like to watch their favorite streamer. PC players do too, but still, it's a majority of people that casually play the game. And every top streamer, and probably everybody all the way down to 100 viewers, likely has the money or the means to buy all the skins. So people are likely showing off new skins, buying new stuff every update. I'm sure if you look at like Ninja's account, he's probably got like, if I could not get a fucking Twitch ad, he's probably got like 20,000 Apex coins sitting in his account. My point is that console players are the driving force behind free-to-play games. They buy shit. They buy skins. They buy this. Warzone. They buy $2 red dots. They buy new gun skins all the time. So they're your driving force. They're your kids. Kids drive the market of everything. 100%. So what ends up happening is that you want to keep them happy. And we saw this in Fortnite when they were constantly screwing with the game. Mouse and keyboard reigned supreme for the longest time, and then aim assist became a literal aimbot sometimes, where it was just shooting through like wheat fields where you couldn't see somebody. It happens. You want to keep that skill gap real small so that the people will continue to play and they'll continue to spend. So what ends up happening is that if you piss off the controller base, then they're not going to play. They're not going to spend. PC players, I mean, we're so used to just fucking hopping on Steam that Discount, discount, discount. Everything's on a fucking discount. We can buy and play so many more games than a console player can. We could easily just shift to another game. We wouldn't even miss a beat. But with console players, almost everything's usually full price. Pre-owned games are dead. So they don't have a lot to play. And when you give them a free-to-play game like Apex, you're just going to keep playing it. It's free. You already got the Xbox. You don't have to spend any more money. That's it. Play it. But if you're going to spend more money, you're going to spend it in something you enjoy playing. So it's easy to justify spending money in a game that was free because, oh, you're supporting the developer and blah, 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 blah. And no. Long story short, they're catering to controller players because they're the ones that are driving the game. I would actually love to be proven wrong, but I don't see a lot of PC players. Everybody I play with is on PC. Nobody I know buys skins. I know Valorant is basically just CSGO, and the skin game there is just, it's a whole nother level of stupid. You're going to spend $70 or $60 on a gun skin. I mean, even just look at fucking Apex. I'm sure the prices are very similar on console. $40. Originally $64. If you go to the Apex coins, excluding the bonus, it is pretty much a 10-to-1 conversion. $18 skin. $18 skin. $10 for a skydiving emote. 1/6 the price of a full-fledged AAA game. Heirlooms. They've added something with such an increased rarity that it forces you to actually go and buy Apex packs in no hope of getting the item. It was actually so bad that they had to legally pass a law in, I believe, the US and other countries. Thanks EA for this. They have to post the probability, which, in my honest opinion, you can't even prove it. It could be a 7.4%. It could not be. We have no way to prove it, but at least they post something. So they want to keep driving this need and this want to buy and to spend. So if that's coming from the younger generation, kids that can't afford a PC, then you're going to cater to them. So you're going to make things like aim assist. You're going to make things like tap strafing. You're going to kick it out. You're going to want to, anything PC players can do to make things more fun and widen the skill gap and make things crazy. I mean, half of the shit wasn't even found in Apex, or probably wasn't even intentional. Wall jumping, tap strafing, bunny hop healing, like none of it was ever intended. People figured it out and it added to the game. Apex would probably be dead if it wasn't for people finding shit out and adding it to the game. I mean, Fortnite never intended for building to be whatever the fuck it turned into, but then they realized that what was the issue? It was like turbo building or something, or fast editing. I forget. It made it really hard to contest anything against a PC player because they had learned everything so much faster. So Fortnite was trying to nerf. God, I wish I could remember what it was. They were trying to level the playing field between PC and controller. And the reason was being that they knew damn well that it wasn't only PC players they had to make happy, because if you piss off half of your demographic, controller players, mobile players, whatever players, and they stop playing, that's that chunk of your revenue gone. So if they shave a little bit off and piss off the PC community this much, but then they make the mobile and controller community this happy, they can maintain. So if they lose 5% of PC players, 10% of PC players, but they can maintain controller players longer, it's more profit in their bank. And just the arguments I'm seeing here are another level of stupid. You are free to use a controller on PC, my guy. All I have to say to that is it's not fun. It's not fun to watch. It really isn't. Like, if you go into the firing range, I'll pick up my trusty controller. Also, another thing, why do I have to connect to a server to play in firing range? Why is there a queue to play by myself against literal bots? So I haven't played on controller in fucking forever. I literally put 5 minutes into this before I even hit record. I don't even know what punch is. Oh, it's right click. Okay. So we'll pick up R99. It's so slow and clunky. It's just not interesting to watch controller players play, in my honest opinion. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to describe. I would never want to watch controller players play because I've played on a mouse and keyboard. Whereas I'm sure it's very different in the Call of Duty community. That fucking community is a cult. But I mean, first time playing controller, and I'm not terrible. I mean, I can aim at the head, but it's kind of insane that it lets you track to this degree. I mean, I don't know how many people on PC can pick up their first mouse and track this fucking well. It's just, I don't know. I've played on controller before. I'm not that good. But it's a good representation of somebody who first picks it up and they try. They've had experience. They've played before. They've played another game. They played Call of Duty, whatever, and now they play Apex. It's really easy to just hop in and pick it up. But what irritates me is that when you get into a firefight, it's not as fun. These are the things that really make the game interesting. And the fact that they're going to remove tap strafing, you might as well remove wall jumping. I mean, it's just... If controller players can't do it, I guess what my point is, I enjoy the PC for the freedom. I enjoy the PC for the abilities. It's what makes me want to play this. I might as well go play Warzone or Counter-Strike or Valorant. But if you're going to keep nerfing things on PC, and your approach is going to be to subtract from the PC community instead of adding to the controller community, if you want to give controllers tap strafing, fucking figure a way out. Just do it. Figure it out. You made this giant game. It's a popular game. Fucking do it. Figure it out. I don't understand why you have to nerf this. Because, oh, what? Because this is so insanely hard to counter. That's not even like a perfect tap strafe. But what? This is too hard to counter? Oh no, you missed one shot and I chose to redirect. I don't know if it's exacerbated by abilities and you're specifically referring to Octane, then why don't you make it for controller players where they have an advantage of mouse acceleration where once they hit space, they don't have to do a tap strafe. They just have the acceleration of air. So they could literally just go in, do a jump, turn their view, just tilt that right stick to the left, give them the in-air acceleration. Fix that. Give it to them. Give them something. Don't sit here and just take away from the PC community because, oh, well, controller players aren't happy. Well, fuck you, Respawn. I'm not happy about the shitty state of your game. The constant hackers. The non-stop closing and errors. The lag. The game's fucking atrocious. When it's bad, it's fucking bad. When it's good, it's fucking good. So you might want to maintain the fucking good instead of dealing with kicking out whatever people slightly enjoy just to make controller players happy. And as for aim assist, I stand with what Shroud said. It's great in a casual sense. It's fantastic in a casual sense. It really gives people the option of picking up the game, and instead of starting from 0, they get to start from like, I don't know, 10% up, 100% being the pro. They're not starting at literally getting bent over, spreading their cheeks from the start. It gives them a motivation to play. It makes financial sense to you. You don't want somebody to join a game and, oh, well, it turns into one of those Steam reviews of, the game gets good after 500 hours. Fuck that. People don't have time 500 hours to pump into this game. They're not going to bother doing it. So I get it. But then you take a pro, and I've seen it mentioned before. If you take a pro and you give them aim assist, they're already fucking good. What do they need aim assist for? They've mastered their craft. It makes no fucking sense. Literally makes no sense to give a pro aim assist. in any way, shape, and form. So, what pros have already been saying this forever. At this point, you should have a controller plugged in, and they've mentioned it before. You do your long-range fights on mouse and keyboard, and when you get into a close quarters combat, you just pick up your controller and you camp your base, because controller is abso-fucking-lutely OP when it comes to close range quarters combat. Every pro will say it. So they don't want to switch because they don't enjoy the controller. Financially, they have to keep playing that game or their viewership's going to tank. So you put them between a rock and a hard place where they have to switch to controller. Honestly, it sounds like, you know, you want to run a race with 2 legs, but you're faster if you cut one off. So everybody's like, well, fuck it, I'm just going to cut off a leg to keep running this race because it's the only way I can compete. It's fucking stupid. Just say, from Diego, just say you want your entire community to play on controller already. It's a good point. Instead of, like I said, instead of boosting up controller, oh, PC found something. Controller can't do it because they can't macro their W to their scroll wheel. Fucking figure out a way to give it to them. Point being, I understand the issue with you have 2 inches of an analog stick. I get it. I have my whole arm, as the kids with no jobs and no life say. I do have my whole arm. I also have to pick and choose between, me personally, I have a large desk space. Not a lot of people have a large desk space. People don't understand that it's not just I have my whole arm. You got to have the fucking surface for it. That's first of all. Second of all, I don't do well with low DPI. I don't do well with low sensitivity. I don't like to have to move. If you actually look into mouse and keyboard, there's multiple different ways to play. There are people who enjoy the actual ability of, or they enjoy the low sensitivity because it makes tracking easier for them, but doing flick shots is going to be harder. There's a lot of things that just go into the whole arm. Overall, you do have significantly more freedom. That's it. You have so many options to choose how to play whatever. On controller, you have that one stick, and if you put your sense too high, close range fights become a bitch, sniping becomes a bitch. You're basically good for mid-range. You put it too low, somebody's behind you, you are fucked. There is no way you're turning around to kill them. You have problems. I get it. They need assistance. That doesn't mean that whatever the company's doing to give them help is automatically right. Warzone's aim assist is significantly worse than Apex's aim assist. That's just what I've gathered. It's what everybody says. Controller players just dominate in close quarters, and at the end of fights, everything's in a fucking building. Controller players usually are king. It's usually like Tfue or not even fucking Ninja, he doesn't play. But it's usually high tier players that are actually capable of competing against them. So when you put a beginning mouse and keyboard player in a lobby with controller players, they're probably going to get fucked in close range. Same with Apex. I've seen controller players that they can't aim for shit, they can't track for shit, but that little bit of assistance gives them the help. Like I said, great for casuals, horrible once you become really good at your craft. If that's the point, as people have said, aim assist is inaccessible to PC players. There are literally absolutely shitty PC players out there. They are fucking terrible, and there's nothing you can do to make them better. They don't want to put the time in. They don't want to put the energy in. They don't want to learn the game. They don't want to learn the mechanics. They don't want to learn tactics. They don't want to learn aim. They're just fucking terrible. They could use an assistance. They could use a leg up. They really could. But instead, fuck them. It's the console players. Why is it only the console players? Why isn't there some level of aim assist on PC when you first start and you first make a new account? Oh, because it's a free-to-play game. And because a pro could then do it, have aim assist, and continue to just rail people with aim assist. Wouldn't help in the tournament, but if you're a streamer and you keep making new accounts, fuck it. Why not? But as for controller players, everybody keeps saying, well, why don't you, where was this guy? You're free to use a controller on PC, my guy. I didn't buy a PC to play on controller. There are games that are better. I personally think Rocket League's better on controller. I think side-scrollers are better. I think old-school retro games are better on controller. I think a lot of things are better on controller. A shooter is under no condition better on a controller. In no way, shape, or form. It is less fun to watch. It is not interesting. Honestly, I've watched Call of Duty majors, and they're fucking boring. It's just assholes camping. And they no spawn. boring. You watch Warzone PC players, their awareness and their game sense, they can go out and do anything because they can look anywhere at any point in a fraction of a second. Controller players cannot do that. So they have to actually hide or have their back against something or have some sort of a cover, and they have to play it safer because they don't have that option. It's more boring. It's not interesting. Top played, watched game in fucking history is, as far as esports goes, is Counter-Strike. If Counter-Strike was on controller, you would not have that viewership. You would not have Kenny S. Snipes. You would not have fucking, simple one-tapping an entire team and clutching around. It wouldn't happen. That shit doesn't happen on controller. That shit's born on PC. So a lot of the reasons games are very interesting is because PC players their ceiling is significantly higher. They can learn, they can adapt, they can do the craziest shit you've ever seen. And even Fortnite had to do that with building. They had to add pro builds for controller. So Fortnite did the smart thing. They said, instead of making it harder for PC, which I believe they tried by removing turbo build once, they got so much backlash, they immediately put it back. They said, why don't we find a better system for controller players and give them a method to at least build relatively as fast as PC players? And it worked. Controller players are now on an equal playing field. But then they still get aim assist. And to some degree, I sympathize with them that they should have aim assist. They do have that tiny little joystick. And as I would put it, they have the inferior input. It's an inferior input. If I want to do anything on my keyboard, I have 4 fingers and a thumb. I have 5 inputs I can hit simultaneously at any given time. On a controller, this is my shooting, one of 2 triggers. This is my joystick or D-pad. So this has to do multiple things. And these 2 fingers don't do shit, especially if you use these 2 for triggers. And most controllers don't have paddles and additional buttons, so you've essentially just wasted 2 fingers right off the bat. We can do so much more. And then you've got the right hand. It has to multitask. Thumb is constantly being used for, thumb is supposed to be your buttons and your joystick. So you're already at a disadvantage. Fuck the joystick compared to the mouse pad. You're already at a disadvantage. Half the time you've got to I don't even know how to describe it. You've got to bring your index finger over and hit a button while still controlling your aim. You're going to give yourself fucking carpal tunnel. This is just bad for your health if you want to play and compete at a high level. It's just, even if you remap everything, it's like every game you go into, you have to just remap. It's a worse input. But that's the input that spends the most money. So I'm tired of seeing them catering to that input and dumbing down shit for PC. Why don't you lift them up? You already have aim assist. You already give them literally legal aim hacks. Why don't you give them advanced air acceleration? Give them their own version of tap strafing. Maybe, here's just spitballing, 2 seconds of thinking. When they use Octane's pad and they hit A, for their second jump, maybe they could hit and hold A, and for literally 1 second is the limit. They can 100% air accelerate. They can just bob and weave the sky for 1 second. They could do it'll give them just enough time to do a 90 or a 180 degree turn. Give them that. They want to jump out a door, maybe they get the same thing. You jump out the door, you hold A, and you've got on the ground, instead of an off jump pad, you've got 750 milliseconds of unfiltered, unlimited air acceleration. You can just turn. You can surf like you do in Counter-Strike. Maybe do that. Maybe give them something. Because taking movement out of a game that people play only for movement has to be the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. I literally only come back to Apex for the movement because I want to get better. I want to do something different. I want to do crazier shit. I definitely don't come back to the game for the shooting. Especially considering your recoil system is so broken that there's non-stop videos online of people saying, oh, well, just do micro circles with your mouse, or just jitter back and forth and you can, hit flatline shots from across the map. It's not the gunplay. It's satisfying, but it's not the gunplay. If you make the movement more sluggish, Pros already don't want to play your game for the hackers. Streamers already don't want to play your game. And games that don't have personalities behind them, they don't make it. They don't live on to see Apex 2. They don't have esports arenas filled. They don't become that marketable. I mean, even Call of Duty dies after like a year and a half. It dwindles down to a fraction of what it is until they release a new one. But Apex, you're not Call of Duty. You haven't perfected that and built your fan base. Whatever you have now is what you have to work with. Pissing it off is not the answer. It's all about money at the end and appeasing controller players. And at this point, I don't know. I really hope somebody makes a better game because this shit is getting old.